Hello, everybody out in the YouTube world. This is Chris, and this is my channel, Bar None 11970. I hope you guys and gals out there are enjoying your day, your morning, your afternoon, whenever you watch this. I just hope it's well. It is currently about 1:53 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. I just got finished with a 5.5 hour live show on my other channel, and what I want to say to people, and this is one of those, I just plan these things. In this world, with all the serious things that are going on and all the bad things and negative things, we can get to the point where we allow it to affect us to the point where we get so upset over every little thing and it eats us alive. We all experience it. I've experienced it. You've experienced it. We've done it in the past. We'll probably do it in the future. It's just reality, at least our reality that we have right now. The more you decide to kind of just let it go and just say, you know what, no matter what anybody else does, I am just going to pull out as much positivity as I can out of the scenario. Now, that doesn't mean to just sit around and, throw roses and say everything's wonderful and just try and bring a positive thing out of everything. I mean, if you could do that, God bless you. But there's going to be times you're going to have fights, you're going to have disagreements, you're going to have misunderstandings. There could be some very bad things happening in your life. But if you can take something out of that negative or bad situation and turn it into something positive, well, then you are in control of your own destiny. And I'll give you a prime example. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, welcome. And this is another one of those spur of the moment things. I did a 5.5 hour live show on my other channel. It's all about comic books because that's, for the most part, makes me happy. Now, there are people there that may not agree with what I say, and I might not do everything to the best of my ability, but I am me. Be you. And there was tonight on the live show for the first time, there was one of my trolls trying to get in. And at the point, I actually started kind of playing around with the person, making fun of it. Now, some of the people might have thought it was serious, and at points there might have been, but I was literally laughing the whole time. And the experience I took out of this whole day was that I can have misunderstandings. There could be negative situations. There could be assumptions. There could be people that, whether they like me or not, that I can't control what they do, but I can control how I end up, how my day ends up. So despite some of the negativity, despite what some people's intent is, what they're trying to portray as their negative energy, it only affects us if we choose to allow it to. And I am on such a high right now, not from any drug or alcohol, but just how I could have some of the negative things happen and people try and come at me with negative things. And even though I might have seemed like I was angry, I came away feeling so empowered, so happy, so smiling that I enjoyed the whole experience, because that's pretty much what we all have in this world, is an experience. So there is going to be things presented to you. Now, one of the things that's presented to me a lot is quote unquote drama. I get a lot of it attracted to my channel. Now, what I've always done is kind of confronted it and like, why is it always happening? We all do that. We all say, why is this happening to me? And then I realized, I mean, sometimes I got to listen to my own advice. When something is repeatedly coming into your life, whether it's the same type of relationship over and over again, or the same kind of losing your jobs all the time, or getting into fights all the time, or just the same people meeting you over and over again, you experience the same negativity, we tend to just say, oh, why is this happening to us, instead of saying, what can we learn from it? That's why it keeps coming back. It's the whole energy and magnetism, where you're putting out the energy of, why is this always happening? And then it's coming to you so you can confront it, understand it, pull something positive from it, and then move on from that. It's like going through 5th grade and you don't understand the lessons being learned. Well, what happens? You keep getting held back until you learn the lessons, then you go on to the next level. So tonight, it was another one of those aha moments. And regardless of what anybody else thinks, or whatever their perspective is, or their own interpretation of a situation, to me, it doesn't matter what anybody else took out of it, what anybody else says or thinks. It's what I decide for my own benefit in my own life that matters. And that's what you should do with your life, is take a negative situation or something that you're asking the question, why is this happening? And sit back and really take a look at it. Understand, why is it still coming back? Because if something is continually coming back into your life, it's our attraction of it that's pulling it in. And when we don't take responsibility for that, it's basically going, hello, McFly, why are you not paying attention? And it keeps coming back, maybe worse or more frustrating. And the majority of people, we give up. It's part of, unfortunately, human nature. But when we give up, we lose. It's like the whole fifth grade thing. If you keep trying or let's say you're not paying attention in class, you're not doing your homework, you're not studying and learning their propaganda. If you get left back and one day you decide, you know what, I give up, I quit. Well, guess what? You're never going to get to sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, continue on and maybe become something. Maybe a doctor, maybe somebody that gets into science and creates the newest cure for something, or you make an invention, who knows? But when you quit and you give up, well, you've already sealed your fate. So you cannot change the outside world, but you can change your perception of it. It's that whole sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Let it, what you say unto me bounces off of me and sticks onto you. In other words, what they're saying with that story is, I don't accept what you're trying to give me. And if we say, woe is me, and we're always saying, why does this keep happening? What we're basically saying is, oh, you're handing me this negative stuff? Okay, I guess I'll take it because it's presented. Well, if you have a knock on the door and somebody says, here's a pile of dog manure, do you have to accept it? Of course not. So that's the same thing with anything in life. So tonight, there might have been multiple people that watched that entire show, and certain segments of the show, they're going to be like, wow, I can't believe Chris is doing this, or wow, there's a lot of drama, or wow, he's being baited into these things. No, I'm not. I was learning something from it. I was experiencing it. It was a one-time situation, and you'd have to watch the whole live show to understand that. But I came out of it feeling so good, feeling positive, feeling like despite what other people tried to do, I turned it into something well. Now, that doesn't mean that tomorrow life is going to be wonderful. There's going to be the people that hate me today are probably still going to hate me tomorrow. The people that hate you today are probably going to hate you tomorrow, even if you try your hardest to make them like you. It's like grabbing sand and trying to squeeze it. The more you squeeze it, the more slips through your fingers. So you know what? Just let go, and whatever remains in your hand is what you're supposed to have. So the thing is, we shouldn't just worry about what everybody else does. And we seem to absorb all of that. And it makes us feel bad. It makes us feel angry. And then what do? We take it out on someone else or something else. And we become abusive. Or we get into alcohol. Or there are some people at the extreme wanting to commit suicide. And we don't want that. Because there might be somebody right now who, out of the blue, just decided to click on this video. And it's resonating with them, and they might be feeling down, or they might be questioning, or they might have the same thing happening over and over again, and they're saying to themselves, why me? Well, figure it out. And if you don't like what's being presented to you, don't push it away. Say, okay, what can I learn from this? What positive thing can I bring out of this negative experience? What can I mold it into? And then move on from there. What can I learn from this painful experience? Now, you could find everything. You could find your own utopia. That doesn't mean people are all of a sudden going to be like, oh, wow, we love you now. You found your peace? Wow, we want you to have nothing but happiness. No, they might hate you even more. But that doesn't mean you have to let it bother you. Haters, like they say, haters gonna hate. So if you have something in your life, whether it's a bad relationship, a bad working experience, a bad luck, whatever, bad karma, bad anything, and it keeps coming back to the point where you're saying to either a god or just saying to yourself or just out of frustration, say, why does this keep happening to me? That means somebody or something loves you enough to send you the same message over and over again saying, here, solve this puzzle, because once you make the puzzle complete, there's no more game to play. And you move on to the next. So I think what happened tonight was a wonderful experience, even if other people didn't see it that way, because I grew a little bit more. And that's the beautiful thing. In an infinite universe with infinite possibilities, there is an infinite level of growth. You will never stop growing until you decide, I've reached my peak. So that's up to you. So you will reach for the stars if you try your best to figure a way how that's possible. And even if you can't, and you did your best, then you could never be disappointed in your outcome. If you put your heart into something, you put your soul into something, and it doesn't end up working, at least you can walk away with your head held high, being proud. And that's why sometimes I kind of like the hatred that comes my way, whether it's jealousy, whether it's maybe something I caused, because I'm no angel. I am not going to sit here and say, because I tried my best to help people, that I do everything right. Sometimes drowning in good intention. Sometimes there's misunderstandings, misinterpretations. I'm no angel. Never claimed to be. I make mistakes. And it's okay. The idea is if you make mistakes, own up to them and see what you can do. Sometimes when you burn a bridge, you can't cross it, but if you can rebuild it. So that depends on what you choose to do. So despite anything that presents itself to me, you ever notice that we pay attention and remember more negative things in our lives? The pain, the loss, the suffering. It's because it leaves an impact for a reason, because we want to learn never to experience that again. And if we don't listen to it, it keeps repeating itself. Now, does that mean some God is presenting that to you? If that's what you want to believe and that works for you, that's fine. Do you believe that you are the one presenting it to you and you are creating your very own karma? Again, another possibility. It could be both. It could be neither. If you come out of any situation feeling more experienced, more alive, more happy, less burden, less fear, less doubt, less worrying about what other people think, then something good came out of whatever situation that you've dealt with or are dealing with. But the idea is we all need to be responsible and face those fears. Remember, I've said in previous videos, if you watched any of my videos before, everything boils down to choice. And it all basically comes down to consent. Do you consent to somebody offering you negativity? Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. And go on a picnic near a really mucky watered swamp where it's 95 degrees out and humid. Ignore all of the mosquitoes and tell me they're not going to bite you. So ignoring your problems and not facing your problems means you are going to be attacked even more. So put it in that analogy, and people do appreciate some of my analogies because when you put it into something you can visualize, it can make more sense, and I hope it does. So think of yourself at a lake in a woods. It's 95 degrees out, it's hot and humid, you're in a very green, mulky lake, and you're sitting in a chair relaxing. You get one mosquito bite. You don't swat at it. You don't try and shush it away. You don't get any bug spray. You just sit there and say, oh, this pain, there's nothing I can do about it. Do you think there aren't going to be more mosquitoes that sense that vibration that you're putting out, the energy, the blood that they smell in the air? You don't think within 5 seconds you're going to be surrounded by mosquitoes to the point where it could actually kill you? That's what happens when you choose to do nothing. Now, you could have gotten bug spray, you could have gotten a mosquito net, you could have went under the water, which if it's mucky and gunky, I wouldn't recommend, or you could run away. You could do so many things, but if you choose to do nothing, you can't sit there and be surprised at all the attacks you will get. So if you think of it in that perspective, action will counteract any reaction and vice versa, if you can understand and get what I'm meaning, because sometimes, I mean, the thing about my shows that I talk about, I never plan what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say until I open my mouth and words come out. That's either a gift or a curse, I don't know. Some people love me for it. Some people can't stand me for it. But I've let other people dictate my life. And tonight, despite what some said, I let one little troll get their 15 minutes of fame in the chat section of the live chat. And I actually got to the point where I offered the person a chance to come on the live show, show their face, and talk to us, and they declined. Here's the funny part. That person, or persons, I don't know who they are, nor do I care, that person will never forget me. They will probably continue to harass me on my channel, or channels, who knows? I have 2 channels, this one and the other one. They'll probably thumb down my videos every day like so many others do. And they might try and leave nasty comments or go on another live show and make other comments. I just won't read them ever again. I gave him his 15 minutes of fame so he could feel good about himself. Or she, I don't know. Could be either male or female. I don't want to assume. But here's the thing. If you asked me now what the person's name was, and that was only 3 hours ago, maybe 2 hours ago, I honestly don't remember his name. Because it's irrelevant. Because I choose to not let somebody like that affect me. So did it affect me at the moment? Yeah, I got into the heat of the moment. I was having fun with it, but I definitely got into the heat of the moment. So that person thought they were trapping me in, thinking, oh, look, all we have to do is say these things and Chris will get all whatever. No, I was having fun with it. But I came away. I mean, after we all, like all the other people, because the people were like fighting to get into the chat room that night. It can only hold like 9 other people. The room was full the whole time with friends that were having such a good time. Positive vibration. That disrupted a little bit, but they were clearly on my side, and I loved the positive energy. And once that whole little 20 minutes, 15 minutes worth of silliness and drama and whatever went by, we went back into the regular conversation, had a great time until the last hour. Some person that was saying they were incredibly high decided to come on the show, and instead of making him feel bad or cursing him out or anything like that, I let him have some fun. He was pretending to be Galactus. I thought it was freaking hysterical, but I turned it into something positive. And there was one of his friends that actually ended up being a nice guy. That he looked like be a younger kid, maybe a teenager, and he just started his own comic book channel. He only has 10 subscribers, and I actually subscribed to that kid's channel, gave him some support, gave him some advice on how to make a channel, and he actually thanked me. So who knows? Maybe something good came out of it. Now, just imagine if I would have booted them off or tried to attack them, what kind of response I would have gotten. So there were 2 levels tonight of what happened. But I learned from both. One might end up being a positive thing, which was later on, and the other one could be a negative thing. But I do have to take responsibility for that, because I'm sure after that whole thing, that person's going to be not liking me any less. But I can't control that. Just like you cannot control things. So, like, for example, if you're in a relationship that, one side, sometimes somebody loves somebody more than the other, and you're finding no matter how much love you give that person, you're not getting the same love in return. My thing is, when you want to give your energy, in other words, your heart, your soul, your life, and love to somebody, if they don't give it back to you, then it doesn't matter if you stalk them, if you force them, if you guilt trip them. Because even if they agree to a guilt trip or a threat or something, you don't really have them. Wouldn't you rather spend your life with somebody that is willingly wanting to volunteer their heart back to you because they want to be there? So think about that. If you're in a relationship, see, I never understood jealousy. Because to me, if I had to be jealous about something, now little minor flirtation jealous is one thing, but somebody that makes you use jealousy to feel bad about yourself, I would have rather given my heart to somebody who wanted it than somebody I felt like I had to convince that it's there for them to have. If they can't see it, then there's nothing I can do to convince them. So why waste the energy going in that direction? And in the other end, if you're the person that doesn't feel it, find somebody better or somebody different. It doesn't necessarily have to be better. It could be just different. But that's why I titled this Letting Go, because sometimes it's just kind of like being on a river. Instead of fighting the current, wondering why you're so tired, exhausted, and drowning, If you just float on the river and say, take me where I need to go, and just pay attention to your surroundings so you don't get knocked into a rock or fall off a cliff or a waterfall, you have control of your life, even if there are times you think you have no control. Because again, whether somebody likes me or loves me about the things I do and say, and I take responsibility for both good and bad, you will never have me sit here and saying, I'm an angel that does everything right. I've started fights in my lifetime. I've done things I'm not proud of. I mean, I've never murdered anybody. I've never done anything illegal that I can think of other than maybe a traffic ticket. Well, that's not really, it is illegal, but I mean, I think the last time I got a traffic ticket was probably 10, 12 years ago. I'm not out robbing people. I have different ways of thoughts. I think differently, and that's a good thing, even if people don't understand it, even if they don't even like it. And when people choose to go in surroundings that they don't like, that's hurting themselves more than it's hurting anyone else. Because yes, you could say something and make me feel bad for a moment. You can definitely get my attention. The troll that I allowed and gave him his 15 minutes of fame, he could have potentially hurt me if he wanted to, even though I found it funny. But after all said and done, since I control my life and I am powerful, as just much you are, it's not going to affect me. I'm not going to go to bed tonight worrying about what that person tried to do and say. But how many people will go to bed tonight mad about what their boss yelled at them for, or their boyfriend or girlfriend yelled at them for, or bad luck that seems to keep happening? You can change it. Life is a light switch. You can turn it on or you can turn it off. It's your choice. So let go. Let go of the anger. Let go of the hate. Let go of the jealousy, the rage. They're all negative things. So the ones that come to my channel to try and hurt me, in the long run, you're only hurting yourself. Because I will still be me, regardless of what you try and mold me out to be, unless I accept your invitation, which I choose not to. Why do you think I keep doing these videos? It's for the positive people, the ones that appreciate what I'm doing, the feedback of saying, you know what, you helped change my life, you helped change my day, you helped change my thoughts. Thank you. Those are amazing things. Wouldn't everyone want to experience that? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say everything I've done and said makes people respond that way. Sometimes I put my foot in my mouth. Sometimes I've said things maybe I shouldn't have said. Sometimes I let the emotion ride over to me. But to be emotional, you have to be full of emotion. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You're going to experience happiness, but you can also experience pain, hatred, jealousy, rage, but you can control them. You have the power, unless you choose to believe you don't. You will manifest whatever you believe is true in your heart. Not what you think, but what you feel. It's your heart. That's why they say when you really want passion into something, what do they say? Put your heart into it. Your heart has more power than your brain ever will. And yet we choose to listen to our brain more than our heart. And wonder why we're not always going in the direction we want to. If you put your head into something, yeah, you might achieve it. But if you put your heart into something, you'll do everything in your power to achieve it. Or stop it. It's all up to you. So that's why, despite what anybody might think about the other channel that I did, and if you want to go there, you can check it out, because there's definitely people that hate me here and hate me there. And I can't change that, nor do I want to. Because without that negativity presenting itself, I wouldn't have a learning lesson. And that's exciting. What new twist will happen today that can help me change my life to be slightly better? And if you look at it that way and you realize you have control, then you could take whatever negativity that keeps coming to you and learn and take something good from it. Then is it really negative? Even if their intent was for it to be that way. So obviously what I say doesn't reach millions of people, nor do I care. If one person actually cared enough to watch what I have to say and appreciate what I had to say, that's more than a hater will ever have. And I hope they change their way. I hope they decide. Just let it go. Nobody forces anyone to do anything. It always boils down to choice. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to the rule with that, depending on your situation. I'm not going to sit here and say there's not. But to me, it's just, I hope everybody gets to experience some goodness out of negativity. When the world hands you lemons, make lemonade. As cliche as that is, it's saying you have the choice to make something into whatever you want. Think about a pile of manure. Most people would say that's a bad thing. And usually it is, but not if you're a farmer. How many people use manure to help their crops grow because it gives nutrients into the soil? So again, perspective. One man's junk is another man's treasure. Or woman. So when you are handed some kind of situation that gathers your attention and gets your attention, focus on it, listen to it. Don't hide it. Again, go to the beach or go to a lake where there's a bunch of mosquitoes biting you and ignore them and watch how quickly they will multiply and attack you to the point where you could get sick and even die. You can't say, woe was me, if you chose to lay there and let them all attack you. And you don't have to be violent either. You don't have to go killing every one of them if you don't believe in killing. No matter what it is, big and small, everything has the right to survive and live. You can run away. There's always an option, even when you think you're backed into a corner. If you want to believe there's no options, then don't be surprised that that's exactly what you get. Be careful what you wish for, you may get it. In an unlimited universe with unlimited possibilities, to say you have no direction, just think about that. Do you think that's silly? In an infinite universe with infinite possibilities, you are convincing yourself there's no direction to go. Why? What are you afraid of? What is your fear? You could lie to yourself. You could lie to everybody, but you can't lie to truth. You cannot lie to how you truly feel. You could look somebody straight in the eye and say, I love you, and not mean it. But if you can't feel it, you know what the truth is. You can't fool what is, and love and feelings are the truth, even if you choose to ignore them or not believe they even exist or they even matter. And think about that. Matter doesn't matter. Everything is made of matter. It's all in the words. Don't be afraid to be enlightened and then complain that you always feel with your 2 feet on the ground, because that's what they want. They want you grounded. Got to keep those 2 feet on the ground. Well, it's going to be hard to be uplifting if that's what you want, the advice you want to follow. You could be anything you want to be. It doesn't guarantee success, but you have a better success if you do your best to make it happen, as opposed to saying, I can't do it, because then you won't. So congratulations, you've gotten the very thing that you've said you can't do. You make your own truth. Don't do that. It's bad enough when other people try and do it. You are the producer of your own movie. You could make whatever script you want, and just because so many people hand you a script doesn't mean you have to take it. You can. You don't have to, even if you're told you have to. Because if you have to do something, then there is no such thing as free will, is there? Think about that. Especially if you're religious. They talk about free will. Well, if there is such a thing called free will, then that means you don't have to do anything. You choose to do something, even if it seems like you don't have a choice, because you always have a choice. It depends on what are you willing to lose or sacrifice to keep your beliefs. And that's why you see so many people today in the herd mentality, because they are afraid to stand up for what they truly believe in, for fear of being judged, for fear of being disliked. I can stand alone. I could face the enemy. And that's what I did tonight. When people said, oh, you might be ruining your channel, or they might not have had as much fun, I can't control somebody else's experience from something. But I can control my experience and what I get out of it. And I get out of it the fact that somebody tried to take away my power through their negativity, and I chose to play a game with them and call them out on it, call their bluff. We were playing cards. I had a full house. They had nothing, and I called them on their bluff. And you know what? They folded. That's power. That doesn't mean now they're going to say, oh, I'm not going to come back. Because maybe they'll come back with 10 more people, 20 more people. Because that video, before the thing was finished, I think I had 10 thumbs up and 20 thumbs down. Okay. Congratulations on your achievement. I hope you decide to do something more beneficial and positive with your life, because that's not a legacy to be proud of the fact that you might have hurt somebody, or at least tried to hurt somebody. Nothing to be proud of. That's not an achievement. No historical figure that meant anything to this world is loved for their hatred. Can you point out one? And that's the legacy you want to leave, thinking, oh, well, it's just the internet. You're mentally affecting somebody else. And some people, they're not as strong. They can be, but they might not be able to do that. And some people have killed themselves. Don't do that. Don't ever think that. That's the ultimate win for an evil person. For evil to exist, good men and women have to choose to do nothing. Why do you think there's so much negativity in this world and so much pain and suffering? Because we're all waiting for somebody else to do what we all need to do ourselves and wonder why it never gets done. You're on that chair in the middle of that woods by that lake being attacked by mosquitoes, saying, I hope somebody will come and swat them away, instead of doing it yourself. Relying in governments throughout history to take care of you when you should be taking care of yourself. Because nothing in life is free. If you think the free things that you get are free, there's always a price to pay in one way, shape, or form, whether we choose to ignore it or not. I mean, I'll show you how good ignoring things are. Ignore your teeth. Don't brush them. They'll go away. Tell me that's a good thing. So, considering it's 2:30 in the morning, and I haven't made a video here in probably about 5 or 6 days. I did this spur of the moment, so no one knew about it. And the fact that there are between 14 and 15 people at this point watching and listening to what I have to say is utterly mind-blowing. And I don't know how many of them, of the 15 that are watching now, I don't know how many of them are saying, wow, this is great stuff. And I don't know how many people saying this guy is a frickin' idiot. Nor do I care. Because if 14 of the 15 listening right now all say he's an idiot, and one person says, wow, this is making my life go in a better direction, then I've achieved something that those other 14 haven't. Now, of course, I seriously doubt it's that kind of ratio. Read the comments of what some people say. It's beautiful. The positivity, the hope, the people wanting to make an effort. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes we don't know how. Whatever reason that we're here for, I seriously doubt, whether you're religious or not, I seriously doubt you are placed on this planet to spend your whole life working to make other people wealthy until you get to the point you're exhausted and die. It's an interesting way to live. Is that really living? And I found it so funny the other day that my wife and I went shopping. We went food shopping. And we're waiting online. It was obviously Memorial Day weekend, so especially over that weekend, we picked an interesting time to go shopping. But there was a lot of people in line, and as we're waiting, I just look at all the people, and not one person was smiling. Every person had this, I don't want to be here, I can't believe the lines are that long, this is, and I felt so bad for every one of them. To not have that joy. And I've lost it sometimes. I still get angry. I got angry today. It happens. It's part of life. You can't have the yin without the yang. But you can't always sit there and say, oh yeah, think love, think positive, but not accept that there is some negative, because you can learn something from it. You will learn more from your negativity than your positivity any day. As much as I love people saying, Chris, I love your channel, I would love to hear somebody say, Chris, this is what you need to do to improve your channel. And if I take that advice, if I say, wow, that advice is sound, and I can do that, and I want to do that, and it helps make me grow and become better, then that wasn't somebody being negative. It was somebody saying, here, I care enough to give my opinion, even if they were being totally sarcastic or disingenuine, if that's a word. And if it's not, it's a criticism. So you can choose to follow the herd. You can choose to fit in. You can choose to be afraid or ignore. But don't be surprised by the outcome, because you get what you give. And if you keep having negativity approaching you, there's a reason for it. So face it. Stop denying it. Stop pretending it'll go away. Stop saying it's not there. Because if it keeps coming back and keeps coming back and keeps coming back, and it gets stronger and stronger, that's somebody saying, pay attention. Or don't. So considering the night I had, it had its highs, it definitely had its lows. But isn't that the whole thing? Like, if you listen to Bill Hicks, he's talking about it's just a ride. The ups and downs, the twists and turns, the dark tunnels, it's all supposed to be a pleasurable experience to where you can have excitement with it. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to be frustrated. It's going to happen. But if you let it continue to happen, is how it destroys you and eats you up inside. Don't go by what your head says. Go by what your heart says. Even if everybody else tells you you're wrong. You're always right unless you choose to do wrong. If you choose to be negative. If you're listening to me with the attitude of, I cannot stand this person, my question to you is, why are you listening to me? Hard to explain that, because most people, they will never be true to themselves. And that's why I can be mad sometimes. I can get things blown out of proportion. I can be over emotional. I can take responsibility for my actions. Because if I'm just pretending to be something I'm not, then the only person I'm kidding is myself. How is that helping me? So when I make my misunderstandings, or I go overboard, or let somebody else affect me, that's fine. That could get caught in the heat of the moment. But it's what I do afterwards and what I take from it that matters in the end. And no one else will ever understand that, and nor will I ever try and convince them, because they never will. If somebody hates me, I'm not going to sit there and convince them to like me, because no matter what I do, they'll probably hate me even more. So why focus on it? Have fun. Feel positive. Feel strong. Realize that you're listening to this for a reason. You brought yourself here. Nobody put a gun to your head and made you listen to this. Nobody put a gun to your head and forced you to leave. You're here because you want to be here for some kind of learning lesson that you needed to hear. And if it resonated with you, then don't think of it as, oh, it was a miracle or it was good luck. I mean, if you want to, you can. So in typical fashion, the way I talk is I'll continue to ramble for a while. And it just blows me away that people actually care about what I have to say. At almost 3 o'clock in the morning, I still have 15 people watching this. That blows me away, and I thank you for whatever reason. And right now, my right ear is ringing. I wonder what people say. Is that means somebody's thinking about you? I wonder what that is. Actually, it's kind of funny. My right ear is kind of just all of a sudden started ringing. Maybe I'm going deaf. Who knows? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it means. But I want to thank everybody for allowing me to share part of my experience of the day with you. And as bad as YouTube can be, and as negative with all the drama, because there was drama today and I was part of it, it happens. Even with all that, I got to speak about something positive. which could potentially help somebody else think positive. Who knows who they might help? That's a beautiful thing. Life is what you make it. And remember, no matter how much you row your boat ever so gently down that stream, just always remember that this life is but a dream. And if you understand what that means on a deeper level, life is whatever you make it. And life will be created based on your belief and your feelings. That's why things that you feel and affect you the most via your feelings will keep going your way, whether you really think you want them or not. Because you wouldn't attract them unless there was a reason, good and bad. So I hope you figure out what those things are. I hope you face them. Face your demons. Face your fear. Be strong. You are in control of your movie. If there's scary monsters in your movie, well, turn it into a love movie, or whatever, romantic comedy. Make it into a comedy. Or maybe you're the hero, and yeah, there's a scary monster, but you're the hero, and you slay the evil dragon and win the day. Sounds like a good movie to me. Good luck making it. So thank you to everybody that took the time to listen. If you want to leave a comment, I'd love to see it. I don't always respond these days, but I will always be appreciative of those who care. So thanks for being those people. I wish you all a happy night, a happy day, a happy whatever. And I hope whatever presents itself tomorrow, you look at it as that wonderful roller coaster. Am I going up? Am I going down? Am I twisting? Am I turning? Is there a dark tunnel? How exciting to not know. And if there's negativity your way, learn from it, get something positive of it, and move on. Or don't. It is that simple. Like Yoda once said, do or do not. There is no try. If this helped you in any way, please leave a comment. Please share with the world that my hopefully positive energy, even from negative situations, has resonated to you to the point where it affected you in some way. Share your story. Leave it in the comment section. And do something with it to help someone else. Pay it forward. So even if you had a bad day, even if everybody dumped their negativity all over you and you came home exhausted and crying and sad, if this helped turn it around a little bit, that's how easy you can change. Go help somebody else. I thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Peace.